So there's a guy, David Danilowitz. He's like a bandit. He's like a brigand. He's so much trouble. And I'm kidding, David. I'm kidding. I'm afraid he couldn't hear me. Okay, but anyway, so let's say he would be causing trouble. She'll mute him. Yeah, that's good.
Anyone else need a phone? No, I got it. There, I pushed the sign back. It wasn't sticking to the handle.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? But you cannot see them or their names.
I think this is the earliest I've ever been to a service.
What? So that's why I was telling you should go on early, so I was right. Yeah, how do you confirm that they can hear? You can't.
You should be able to hear because they can see the audio stream. And I'll check it up.
And you're still having buffering problems?
I watch it. I'm trying to let it go as long as possible. If I see it starting, then I'll...
Okay, but how often would you say it happens? Still 10 minutes?
During Minion on
yeah.
Thursday,
yeah.
I pressed A once, and then it was like 45 minutes.
That's not bad.
One time, and I did it.
Okay.
Yeah. To get on.
Well, isn't that their choice?
It's a part that you don't have. It's not on the card.
Why shouldn't they be able to choose that? I mean, it's a good question either way you ask. So, we're not starting the service. I'm just saying hello to everybody. But I can't see them. So I'm saying Shabbat Tov to anybody I can see. To the Maddows, who are very nicely dressed, and Jerry, very nicely dressed. David Fisher, I've already said hello. Cindy, I've already said hello to. Shirley, it's not Wednesday, Shabbat Shalom. Dana Lowitz says, you look very nice, very good. Oh, the Rumanovs, there. Hello, Felicia. The Druckers look very nice. Boy, Nettie, I never, really. Do you know that Nettie Levine, I don't think, has missed a service since the virus started? Right.
I haven't.
Now I can't see. Is that Jeff Cantor? But what is that? What is the background? Bamboo? You look like you're in the tea house of the August moon.
These are cold. No, these are cold.
Change it hides the room.
Just one for tonight.
But
I don't think I'll even.
you know, I'm like I want to do the old bamboo or something like that.
Tomorrow is like the
Do you
burial
like it?
service.
Do you prefer
Hey, are we going to Shul or are you visiting us at home?
I'll leave
Exactly.
the one
We're
here,
perfect by
and then
tomorrow.
there are two more in the back.
Thank you.
The finish is, the cup is here.
The cup is.
Right there.
Oh, and Antillo, you worked it out. Very good.
White. That's good.
And I can't see. Is that Mike Smith? Who is that there? Is that the Smith? Yes. Shabbat Shalom. And I'm trying to figure out who's in
I got the nicest email from the Shapiros
the,
today.
which one?
Sharon and Henry.
Cone.
Oh, sorry.
I can put it behind it.
And they were like, they're just so nice.
They're going now. They're not going to be coming in
He's going to be doing Shafri and she's going to be doing that
from home. Yeah.
Can I get a photo test? I want to see when you're standing here. Just make sure that you're in the shot. You're going to be in the center. Is that where you stand? You like to stand?
Yeah.
So that's good, right? That's good.
Chandler Temple.
So this won't bother you, right? There's no
No.
distraction. Thank you.
That's all just in the last 24 hours. Three shifts of davening for tomorrow morning.
Hey,
How
Mark.
long is each service?
Who's that?
It's Jerry Putterman.
Oh,
What
hi.
time
How
do we
are
start?
you?
7 in the
Good,
morning.
yourself?
Good.
Good.
Wish I could see you. You're on another screen.
But
Hold on a minute.
12:30
There you are.
Oh, okay.
How's Miriam? Where is she?
Oh,
She's somewhere floating around the house.
that's very cool.
Cleaning up after me, I think.
Sometimes we see her in behind you.
Right.
Yeah.
You think she can't see her, but I know you can.
Oh, yes.
Now-
I want to say hi, Miriam.
Does everybody understand that you have the ability to see what you want to see? That is okay. Just in case anybody's not familiar, like if you're seeing what we call the gallery view now with a lot of faces, you don't have to see that if you don't want to, right? If you know, in other words, you can pin. Like let's say you just want to look at the madhouse because since they're so dressed up, you could pin them and just see them big on your screen. Or something like that. Let's say you just want to look at Jeff Canner and his bamboo background, right? So you, or you just wanted to see the one with the canter, so you could just spot like that. Okay.
I wanted to say good Shabbos to the Cantors. Nice to see
That's
you.
very nice. That was Marge Drucker. That just said.
Hi, Marge.
Yep. Hi. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. This is certainly unique. This is not what I thought we'd be doing a year ago.
Oh,
A
man.
year ago, we would have never imagined anything like this.
Absolutely.
Our powers of imagination were not this big.
Even just back in March when they're like, oh yeah, we'll be so spice up this. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I remember the day it was like in May. I said, "Oh my God, what about the high holidays?" And all of a sudden, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, what are we going to do?
I want to say maybe
Black line right here.
Yeah, actually, I remember you saying something. But I think it's when it hit May. What is that?
So flashbacks.
This one.
You get it. There.
Oh, you see that chat? What was that? Jeff Bruin just had a little advice.
Should we mute ourselves now?
Oh, Jeff Bruin, wherever you are. We can't because then the streaming wouldn't hear anything.
What's the problem with it? Too
Yeah,
loud?
turn it down one.
Remember, we're doing two different processes.
I'll turn it down a little bit, see that.
that's too loud.
By the way, Jeff, you look very nice.
We'll turn it down a little bit.
You start with HTTPS : / in other words, forward up to the /
He's like, and by the way, since that was 2 weeks ago, he's grown so much. It was like, you feel like the last time you saw him, he was a little. By the way, I don't know if you want to, but on the second day, you want to come back and sit on our deck, right? Because it's going to be a long, long. Okay, you don't even have to do it inside if you don't want to.
I think it's going to be good weather.
So anyway, so keep that in mind. You know, like we're going to do Tosh look around the corner, and you can just walk back with us.
Yeah, that would be nice.
There are lots of books back there. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Can I shake your hand?
No, go ahead. Don't worry about it. You know who's going to notice?
I hear something here.
You got to tell us over it. I know it. Okay. But you can go get it afterwards.
I can't use it. I can't. Stunk. Actually, maybe I could say it's got to be better than 57. It's just got.
I basically told my whole team, I'm like, yeah, 67, 80 was a bust.
It'll come up. Are you on? You see me? Yeah, I guess. Go ahead. Go do what you have to do. But at least you're on, right? Okay, bye. I don't know where he is, but he says it's on.
Doesn't it? Especially the second half there. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that too.
Oh, it's delicious.
You know, these committees took your food and your life so seriously. They had lots of discussions. And they're worried about your cereal. I mean, people really like you. I mean,
I like them too. I mean, Abel's, they outdid themselves. Yeah, everything just fit. After the mango chicken, there's a little bit more room.
and what? Well, if you're forgiving me, you shouldn't bring it up. I don't. Do you redo it? Oh, I don't think I even saw the email.
Jeff Bruin, is the audio better now? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Or black screen.
Or where do you go? You meant to. Good.
I guess that's good.
Thank you.
Okay, who should I tell them to chat if there's
Yeah,
a problem?
much better.
You? Rich will direct.
Shana Tova, Jeff.
Okay, and so I'm going to tell everybody to mute themselves. Is that
It's
right?
great to see you. Actually, you inspired me to put on a jacket.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
what's he here?
Right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be starting in a few minutes. A couple of things. One is if you could mute yourselves, and then at the end of the service, or towards the end of the service, we'll ask you to unmute yourself, especially when we get towards the Mourner's Kaddish and things like that. Secondly, a lot of you have your screens black. We'd like to see your faces. So can I make a push for that? And, and if you're not fuputzed, it's okay. If you're not dressed to the nines, it's okay. But part of the idea of the high holidays is for us to be with each other. And clearly this is a different kind of being with each other. But we would like to see your faces. Third, if we've been working night and day about the sound system. And we have a couple of different things going on. We have streaming going on, and some people we know are already streaming, and we have the Zooming. If there's something with the audio that's not going well, one of you, Jeff Gruen, just chatted the ritual director, giving a suggestion. Please feel free during the service to say, we can't hear the rabbi, or we can't hear the cantor, or we can't see something. This is all a work in progress, and we would appreciate your suggestions. That's not you being, nudgy or something like that. We would really appreciate it. Having said all that, we'll ask you now to mute, and good Yom Tov, and we have a special welcome to Cantor Khan, who's back with us for how many years is this? This is the 4th year, that's what I was going to say. We're so thrilled to have her back with us. And in case you're wondering, this service is being brought to you by TBS, the Temple Broadcasting Synagogue. Okay. Under the directorship of David Margolis, and with some assistance from my daughter, Sarah Skolnick. So we're going to start on page 3. We hope that all of you have picked up a Machzor. And we're going to begin with a responsive reading. To everything there is a season, and there is an appointed time for every purpose under heaven. Now is the time for turning. The seasons change, as does the balance of day and night. The birds are beginning to turn and are heading once more toward the south. The animals are beginning to turn to storing their food for the winter. For the earth, for birds and animals, turning comes naturally, but for us, turning does not come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we've been wrong, and this is never easy. It means losing face. It means starting all over again, and this is always painful. It means saying, I'm sorry. It means admitting that we have the ability to change, and this is always embarrassing. These things are terribly hard to do, but unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. Dear God, help us to turn from callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love, from pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment, from carelessness to discipline, from fear to faith. Turn us around, O God, and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning, and turn us toward each other, God, for in isolation there is no life. We now turn to page 4, and since it is not only the first night of Rosh Hashanah but Shabbat, we're going to read Psalm 92, again responsively in English. It is good to thank you, Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God, to speak of your love each morning and of your faithfulness at night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp. Your creation, Adonai, gives me joy. I sing of your handiwork. How vast your works, Adonai, how intricate your designs. The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this. The wicked flourish like grass, those who commit evil blossom, only to be destroyed in the end. But you, Adonai, are supreme forever. Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies shall perish, those who commit evil shall crumble. And you will raise my head high like the horn of the ox, anointing me with fragrant oil. Were enemies to gather against me, my gaze would remain steady, for my ears would hear. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall endure like a cedar in Lebanon, transplanted in the house of Adonai, thriving in our God's courtyard. In old age they are yet fruitful, always fresh and fragrant, proclaiming that Adonai is flawless, my stronghold never unjust. Tzaddik Tamar.
Tzaddik Tamar Yifrach Ke'eres Balvanon Yiskeh Shetulim Bevet Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrihu O Genuvun Beseva Deshenim Berananim Yiu Lehagid Ki Hashar Adonai Tsuri Velo Avlatabo.
Please rise for the Baruch Hu, page 5. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We'll read in English the second half of the page on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, ruler of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Living and ever-present God, may your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai Tzvaot. Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Hamari Varavim.
On page 6, we'll read the first paragraph together in English. You have loved your people, the house of Israel, with infinite love. You taught us Torah and mitzvot, statutes and laws. Therefore, Adonai our God, as we lie down or rise up, we shall think of your laws and speak of them, rejoicing in your words of Torah and your mitzvot forever and ever. For they are our life and the fullness of our days, and on them we will meditate day and night. May you never withdraw your love from us. Baruch Atah Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch Atah Adonai
Shema.
ohev amo Yisrael.
Page 6, the middle of the page for the Shema.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'eleh
Asher
Anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharech. We're reading the rest of the Shema silently. V'hayayim shamoa. V'natati esev. Ukshartem. V'limadatem. Uchtavtam. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe le'mor. Tzit. Acharei levavchem, v'acharei nichem, asher t'zonim achareichem.
Adonai Elohechem Hemet.
At the bottom of page 7, going on to page 8, we'll read responsibly in English. Truly, this is our faithful affirmation binding on us, that Adonai is our God and there is none other, and we, Israel, are God's people. God redeems us from earthly rulers. Our sovereign delivers us from the hand of all tyrants. God brings judgment upon our oppressors, retribution upon all our mortal enemies. Page 8. God performs wonders beyond understanding, marvels beyond all reckoning. God places us among the living, not allowing our steps to falter, and leads us past the false altars of our enemies. God exalted us above all those who hated us, avenged us with miracles before Pharaoh, offered signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. God smote in anger all of Egypt's firstborn, brought Israel from its mist to lasting freedom, led them through the divided water of the Sea of Reeds. As their pursuing enemies drowned in the depths, God's children beheld the power of the divine. They praised and acknowledged God's name, willingly accepting God's rule. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people Israel joyfully sang this song to you. Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, working on Malchuto?
U'malchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe, Miriam, uvnei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabba v'yameru chulam
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha kodesh, norati lo osefele.
Malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokeam lifnei Moshe Seilianu v'hameru
Adonai yimloch leolam vaed.
V'nemar kifat Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miat chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai
Shmo.
Kol Yisrael.
Amen. Page 9, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim ufros alenu sukkot shelomecha v'taknenu b'tza tova milfanecha v'hoshienu leman shemecha v'hagen ba'adinu v'haser melinu v'hagen ba'adinu v'haser melinu oyev tever v'cherev v'ra'av v'yagon v'haser satan milfanenu satan milfanenu satan milfanenu milfanenu u'me'acharenu uv'tzel kenafecha tasdirenu ki el shomerenu matzilenu ata ki el melech hanun v'rachum ata u'shmor tzeiteinu uvoinu l'chaim u'shalom ata v'ad olam ufros alenu sukkot shlomecha baruch atah Adonai ha'poresh
Sukkot Shalom. Please rise for Hashanah. The bottom of the page. Et HaShabbat lidorotam beritolam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat
לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם,
אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש,
שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש,
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Page 10.
תיקו בחודש שופר, בכסל יום חגינו, כי חוק לישראל הוא משפט לאלוהי יעקב. יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה,
אמן.
בעלמא דיברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו,
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לא מעלמיה, יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח, ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשא
ברכו.
לילה לילה,
מכל ברכתה ושירתה,
תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו Amen.
Please remain standing from page 11 to page 17. When you finish the silent devotion, you may be seated. And if you'd prefer, you can say your own silent meditation on reflection of the holiday. Pages 11 to 17. Tyler, it's saying that emoji October thing. The Savior, kindness, Rosh. Rokol Chafashon. Asay. Page 17, the bottom of the page, Oseh Shalom.
Aseh shalom bimromav, Huria aseh shalom aleinu,
Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom,
Yaseh shalom,
shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom,
Yaseh shalom,
shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. When you finish the silent devotion, you may be seated. We're on page 18, Vayachulu Hashamayim.
Vayachulu Hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vaychal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa Vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto ki hivot shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Eloi avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ve'hanora El Elyon Kunei Shamayim Va'aretz Magen
Avot
Bidvaro
Mitzrayim
Metim B'mamaro
Maharo
HaMelech HaKadosh
Ein Kamohu
HaMeniach Le'amo B'yom Shabbat Kodsho Kivam Ratza Le'haniach Lahem Kivam Ratza Le'haniach Lahem Lefanav Navod B'yirav Ha'pachad V'nodeh Lishmo B'chol Yom Tamid Me'ein HaBrachot El HaHodaot Adon HaShalom Mikadesh HaShabbat Umvarech Shevi Umeniach B'Kedusha Le'am L'Kdush Neoneg Sefer
L'maseh V'Reishit
Eloheinu v'Eloi avoteinu Ritzivim nuchateinu Kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha V'tenchokenu b'toratecha Sabeinu mituvecha V'samechenu b'shuatecha V'taher libeinu lovdecha be'emet V'anchilenu Adonai Eloheinu Be'ahava v'ratzon Shabbat kodshecha V'yenuchu v'Yisrael mekadesh shemecha Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Page 19, Reader's Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתגדל שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דיברה קירתי ועמליק מלכותי, בחיי חונה ויום חונה בחיי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach.
לעולם עולם מימיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתאמן ויתעשה ויתהדר בלב לא שמי לקודשה.
Brichu.
בריחו לעילה בכל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה בעלמא ואמרו
Amen.
תתקבל פלוטון ובנתון לכל ישראל קודם ובהון יבשמיה ואמרו
Amen.
יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Amen.
Amen.
May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that the year 5781 be one of balanced and mindful growth for us as individuals, for our families, and our communities. May we return next year in good health and an appreciation of a year of greater peace, a year in which we deepened our lives through learning and the performance of mitzvot, a year in which we were conscious of the divine presence, a year in which we strengthened our shared commitment to Tikkun Olam, the betterment of the world. Please rise for the Kiddush, page 24.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'am v'romamanu mikol lashon v'kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava et yom ha'shabbat hazeh v'et yom ha'zikaron hazeh yom zikaron truah be'ahava mikra kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim udvarecha emet v'kayam la'ad baruch atah Adonai melech ha'kol ha'aretz mekadesh ha'shabbat v'Yisrael v'yom ha'zikaron baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam
Shechechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, ruler of time and space, for granting us life, for sustaining us, and for bringing us to this moment, this wonderful moment together. Amen. Please be seated. So, you're walking home from school. You're coming home from work. You've lived here since the day you were born. This is where you grew up. This is your community. This is your home. But as you're walking home, suddenly you hear a siren. You know that siren deep in your instincts. Code Edom. Code red. You don't think, you run. You have 20 seconds. Luckily, a shelter happens to be across the street. Within seconds, you are there, surrounded by people you know. Children are screaming. Women are crying. Men are crying. You hear a whistling sound, a deafening explosion. The entire shelter shakes. Slowly, people calm down. Slowly, people come out of their shelter. Slowly, they look around for the destruction. They try to forget what just happened until the next time. This is your life because you live in Sderot. In the 1950s, Jewish refugees who were forced to leave their homes in North Africa just because they were Jewish
poured into Israel, and many were assigned to a little shanty town that was somewhat ironically called Sderot, which means avenues or boulevards. These immigrants started from scratch, fought for everything they had, literally built the town and their livelihoods, and spurred the town's growth. In the 1990s, Sderot doubled in size as immigrants came in droves. Sderot is now a city in Israel that looks like most modern, progressive cities in Israel. It's a beautiful town in the western Negev in southern Israel. Sderot can be a wonderful, peaceful, quiet. For a city so large, there aren't that many people around. The streets don't have as many cars as you might expect. Sderot is close to the border, only minutes away from Palestinian-controlled Gaza. It has been a target for sustained rocket attack by Hamas since 2001. The people of Sderot live life under rocket fire. Now, nobody else can understand how anybody can live there. Rockets fly, and there are still weddings and bar mitzvah ceremonies, and people just try to live their lives. In many ways, Sderot is a microcosm of Israel. Most of the world is indifferent to the unbelievable reality that Israel lives in every day. And Sderot is a kind of metaphor about the resilience of Israeli society. One of the most beautiful and amazing things about Sderot is that incredible resilience. And Israelis are as resilient as anybody in the world. The people in Sderot make music, and they continue their lives despite everything. So there's a documentary film called Rock in the Red Zone. It was directed and written by Laura Bialis. She had made an award-winning film called Refusnik, documenting the 30-year international human rights campaign to free Soviet Jewry. And she came to Sderot at the urging of people of Israel who spoke of a humanitarian crisis there that the media were all ignoring, namely the many thousands of rockets that were hitting the town all the time. But what the filmmaker finds, to her surprise, is a prolific rock music scene that revolutionized Israeli music. She learns about the personal lives and music of the diverse musicians of the city, and the film chronicles the town's trauma and reveals its enduring spirit. She discovers that Sderot had earned the title of Ir HaMuzika, the city of music. Moroccan Israeli musicians from Sderot created a new genre of Israeli music by merging traditional North African melodies with contemporary rock. She says, the idea was to suck the poison out of them, to let them scream, to let it all out. Major Israeli singers came to work with young proteges, turning music into a potent outlet for their feelings. And the music was called Stay Rock. I always heard, she says in the film, that good music comes from hard places. Think about that sentence. Good music comes from hard places. Good deeds come from people who have gone through rough things. If you've ever really gone through grief, you are sensitive to those in grief. If you've ever had physical pain, you relate to anybody in physical pain. If you've ever been really afraid, you understand the fear of others. So if you've ever been in a bad way and the bombs are blowing your world apart and you're scared and somebody asks how you're doing, tell them this. Tell them, I'm rocking in the red zone. What we've gone through in the last year cannot be compared to living in Sderot. But the red zone is something we hear about every day, an area where the virus is killing people. Some of us have felt like we've been living in a war zone. We have been scared for our very lives. Each of us, in one way or another, has had their life disrupted, and it has been extremely difficult to cope. Before all this, the business world saw disruption as a good thing. Think about Amazon. Think about a phone that you carry in your pocket with a camera and email. Think about email. Think about vegetarian meat. Think about Zooming. Think about streaming. Airbnb, Legal Zoom, Rent the Runway, Square, SiriusXM, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Venmo. What do all of these things have in common? They are disruptors of the status quo of business. And by the way, they all started in the midst of a recession. They responded to bad times by adapting and being creative and being attuned to new realities. When our daily lives are disrupted, it is scary, it's depressing. But we have to make music in the red zone. We have to rock in the red zone. We were hit by disruption, and we went through fear and depression. We could not do things in any of the usual ways. What we had to do was deal with the new realities. It took a while to understand what the new realities were. When your life is disrupted, how do you react? Well, one choice is to avoid the issue. Pretend like it hasn't happened, and it will go away quickly, like a miracle. You talk happy talk, and you tell yourself it's almost over, and then things will go back to normal. You disregard the facts. We all know about people like this. But this reaction gets you nowhere, and you lose very valuable time because you're not even beginning the process of adapting to the new reality. You know the joke, I've told it a million times. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. But my new version is, denial is a river that overflows its banks when you pretend that it's not there. I'm talking about making music in a zone of fear. Now think about Fiddler on the Roof. Think about that fiddler. What is he doing? What's that fiddler doing? He's making music while he's precariously balancing on the roof. What's the music that you're going to make? Music in all this is a metaphor for the expression of our souls and for the actions we need to take. It's not about COVID-19. It's about what you did in 2020. So let me go back to the example of Stay Wrote, living in the red zone while the rockets fly around them. Let me continue to use Israel as a positive example of how to react to the crises of our lives. Despite the threats it faces from Gaza, Israel has never lost sight of the humanitarian issues facing the people suffering in Gaza. According to figures from the Palestinian Trade Center, unemployment in Gaza is nearly 50%, and 68% of those between the ages of 20 and 24 are jobless. Hamas is failing to provide basic services, and yet despite all of the rockets and the bombs, Israel continues to transfer humanitarian aid and building materials to Gaza. The United States continues to support Israel's right to defend itself and protect its borders, and it works closely with Israel to continue to improve Gaza's situation. Now, if you think about this, this is incredible. No matter what anybody does to us, we continue to try to do the right thing and try to improve other people's lives. Israel never gives up. It always hopes for peace. We should understand and appreciate the spectacular recent news that Arab states are beginning to recognize Israel. We hope that this will be a major breakthrough. It seems to be. Our hope is that the Palestinians will understand that this is the time to stop all the bombing, to come to the table, and to create a two-state solution. But let me bring it back to our lives during this pandemic. We have to find ways to make music in the red zone. I'm not sure what the next year will be like. But if we find that we continue to have lots and lots of time at home, how are we going to make music? What are we going to do for others? And how are we going to enrich our lives through exercising both our minds and our bodies by reading and learning and walking? My 91-year-old mother, Kanahora, was basically locked for months in a senior residence. And she rediscovered her hobby of painting, and it's been a wonderful creative outlet. That's making music in the red zone. I hope that this year will be a whole lot better than the last one for all of us. But if it isn't, let's make it the best year that we possibly can. Please rise for the Aleinu. We're calling on George Spencer to open the Ark, page 25.
Aleinu l'shaberach l'adon hakol, l'tein gdula liyoser reishit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam kolkeinu kohen, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu notei shamayim v'yosei haaretz, u'moshe v'karo b'shamayim imo, u'shvinatu zo, v'gaven meromim, hu Eloheinu Einod, emet Malkeinu kakatu b'torato, v'yadata hayom lahashivota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim v'mal, v'al haaretz, mitachat Einod, Einod.
Please be seated.
V'nemar
V'haya
Adonai
L'melech al kol
haaretz,
Bayom
Bayom ha'u,
Yeh
Adonai
Adonai
echad, U'shemo echad.
Amidst the sorrow of our bereavement, we lift our hearts to you, O God, for comfort and consolation. Help us to resist the shadows of despair that darken our lives. Help us find strength in the knowledge that those we have lost were not ours by right, but your gift to us. During this week, we observe the following yahrzeits: Maurice Bernstein, father of Martin Bernstein; Eva Hoffman Kramer, mother of Kenneth Kramer; Herbert Nieblum, husband of Ann Nieblum; Pauline Rosenfeld, grandmother of Leslie Pollock; Estelle Kurson Rumanoff, mother of Michael Rumanoff; Lillian Tessler, sister of Simeon Gilman; Rachel Zamkov, mother-in-law of Martin Rudnick; Jean Marcus, mother of Deborah Brown; Joseph Sisler, father of Ruth Kleinfeld; Morris Sudarsky, husband of Marilyn Sudarsky, father of Felicia Rumanoff; Sidney Trachtenberg, father of Judith Rolnick; Marjorie Abrams, mother of Scott Abrams; Vega Alter Berezina, mother of Sophia Rudov; Lillian Cantor, aunt of Diane Borodkin; Sadie E. Kapaloric, aunt of David Z. Green; Willie Manella, father of Miriam Freed; Rita Rudnick, wife of Martin Rudnick; Barney Bauman, father of Esther Bauman-Fisser; Joseph Feingold, father-in-law of Sharon Feingold; Wolfgang Marcuse, father of Ilana Danilowitz; Jeff Ossen, uncle of Neil Zombach; Gladys Field, grandmother of Brian Lakin, great-grandmother of Shana, Jacob, and Aaron; Melvin Nadelman, father of Amy Dubrow; Jack Zelkovitz, father of Betty Lido; Elsie Green Amster, mother of Leah Stambler; Harvey Bayer, father of Somber Weissman; Anna Massey, mother of Harvey Massey; and May Richmond, aunt of Gerald and Solomon. Teach us to be grateful for the blessing of their lives and for the time they were granted to walk this world by our side. May their memories continue to inspire us and to bring us blessing. Mourners, please rise, page 26. Yitkadal, v'yikadash, shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei, v'amlich malchutei. V'chayei chon, v'yomei chon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, Bagalav Vizman Kariv Vimru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Lo Meomaya. Yitbarach Vishtabach Vitar Vitramam Vitnaseh. Vietadar Vietalev Vietalal Shemid Kudusha Brechu. Le'ela Mikol Merchata Vishirata Tushbachata V'nechemata Dami Ran Be'alma V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'romav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Please be seated. On page 27, we'll read the whole page responsively in English, page 27. Adonai is my light and my help. Whom shall I fear? Adonai is the stronghold of my life. Whom shall I dread? When evil people assail me to devour my flesh, it is they, my enemies, and those who besiege me, who stumble and fall. Should an armed camp be arrayed against me, my heart would show no fear. Should they war against me, of this I would be sure. One thing I ask for Adonai, this I seek, to dwell in the house of God all the days of my life, to behold God's beauty and visit in God's sanctuary. Were God to hide me in God's sukkah on the calamitous day, were God to enfold me in the secret recesses of God's tent, I would be raised up in a protecting fort. Now I raise my head high of the enemies that surround me, and come with offerings and his trumpet blast to God's tent, chanting and singing praise to Adonai. Adonai, hear my voice as I cry out. Be gracious to me and answer me. It is you of whom my heart said, seek my face. It is your presence that I seek, Adonai. Do not hide your face from me. Do not act angrily toward me. You have always been my help. Do not forsake me. Do not mother and my mother abandon me. Adonai will gather me in. Show me your way, Adonai, and lead me on the straight path despite those arrayed against me. Do not hand me over to the grasp of those who besiege me, for false witnesses and those who seek ill have risen against me. If only I could trust that I would see God's goodness in the land of the living. Place your hope in Adonai. Be strong, take courage, and place your hope in Adonai.
Luleheman tilor betuv Adonai beretz chaim. Kavel Adonai chazak v'yametz lipecha v'kavel Adonai.
Good Shabbos, good Yontif. Please join us tomorrow morning. The first day of Rosh Hashanah service will start at 9 a.m. Tomorrow afternoon there will be a family service at 4:30 p.m. And tomorrow evening the service for the second night of Rosh Hashanah will begin at 6:45 p.m. Sunday morning the service for the second day of Rosh Hashanah will begin at 9 a.m. And the Zoom is a different number than the weekly service one, so you have to check your email. The services scheduled for this coming week are morning minions Monday through Friday, which begin at 7:15 a.m., and evening minions Monday through Thursday begin at 6:45, and they are both on the same Zoom number. And for security purposes, we are adding a passcode 181818 that you'll need to enter to get in. Friday evening, September 25th, the service will begin at 7:30 p.m. Saturday morning, September 26th, the service will begin at 9:30 a.m. And Sunday evening, September 27th, the service for Kol Nidre will begin at 6:30 p.m. Monday morning, September 28th, the service for Yom Kippur will begin at 9 a.m. And Monday evening, September 28th, the service for Yom Kippur, Mincha, Yizkor, and Ne'ilah will begin at 5 p.m. Please note the following meetings and events for the coming week. The Rabbi's Bible class takes place every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. following Minyan. Please join at 6:45 for the evening Minyan, and both the Minyan and the class are at the same Zoom link. There's upcoming Temple Beth Shalom Adult Ed programs for October, November, and December that you'll hear more about in the bulletin. Thank you, and again, good Shabbos and good Yont.
we would like to thank everybody who made this possible. We'd especially like to thank David Margolis. We have been working, and David's been working, it feels like 24/7 for months to make this evening possible. I don't know, what you know about these things, but we've learned a lot. And it's wonderful that you could all be with us. I see people on the screen from different places. You're all very welcome to be with us. And we're doing the best we can. We're very open to trying to make this better. But I think we're trying pretty well. It's a real pleasure to have our cantor back with us, and we'll ask her to conclude with the Yigdal on page 28.
Yigdal Elohim Chai ve'yishtabach Yimsa ve'enet el metziuto Echad ve'en yachid kehichuto
Ne'elam v'gam ein sof le'yachduto
Ein lo demut haguf ve'eino guf Lo na'aroch elav kedushato
Lo lechol davar
Asher nivra rishon ve'in rishit le'rishito Hino Adon olam v'chol notzar Yoreh gedulato u'malchuto Sheva nevuato nitano Elanche segulato v'tifarto Lo kam be'Yisrael kemoshe od Navi umabit et emunato Torah
Emet Natan Li'amoel Al Yad Nevio Ne'eman Beito
Lo yachal Yifael Ve'lo yamir dato Le'olamim le'zulato Sofer v'yodea Sitarenu Mabit le'sof davar B'kadmato Gomer le'ish chesed kemifalo Noten la'rashara kerishato Yishlach leketz yamin Meshichenu
Liftot mechakeket Yeshuato
Metim Yechael berov chasto Baruch Adonai Shem Tehilato
Tim Yechael Berov chasto Baruch Adonai Shem. Please rise for the closing prayer. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who makes peace in the heavens, grant peace unto us and unto all Israel. Let us say amen. L'shana tova tikatevu v'techatemu. May we all be inscribed and sealed for a good year. Shana tova, Shabbat shalom.
Shana Tova Yashkoach.
Can I take this off?
Yeah.
Shana Tova, Rabbi.
Shana Tova Yashkoach.
Can we get a gallery? Can we get?
Shana Tova. Shana Tova Kulam.
Okay, I'm trying. So wait, I'm trying to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Shana Tova, David. Shana Tova.